YouTubers, this is another video from me, Evelyn. Today we're going to be reviewing another new Korean drama slash action series called Shopping Mall for Killers. Let me see, yep, Shopping Mall for Killers. Now this came out on Disney Plus. I've seen the first 2 episodes and let me tell you, a very interesting premise. It stars Lee Dong-wook as the uncle of Jung Ji-man and her niece, well his niece, sorry, of Jung Ji-an. Now the actress of Kim Hye-jun, I was trying to figure out where I saw this actress before, and if anybody that's been at the beginning of my channel know, I did initially a review of this series called Inspector Ku, and this actress played like the antagonist. Now the first episode kind of starts off with a flash forward where Jung Ji-an, she's in her uncle's house and the assassins are trying to kill her. We have no idea why, but with flashbacks we see that her uncle of Ji-man, now what a cool name, Jung Ji-man, Ji-man, kind of sounds like a superhero name in a kind of weird sense, telling her about blind spots. That when you're watching an action movie, that there's always blind spots that the shooter cannot see. So she does that because far away from her uncle's house, where she used to live as well, there's this guy with a sniper shooting the house, and then she uses the stick with a mirror to pinpoint where the sniper can shoot, and to the point where he cannot see, she goes up into the top of the fridge and she does a leap. Now of course this is fiction. It shows the bullet sliding underneath her, well on top of her back, and she managed to survive. So for episode 1 and 2, the premise is very simple. Poor Lee Dong-wook's character is not, okay, spoilers in case anybody doesn't want to know, he's dead. That's the irony. Lee Dong-wook is dead. I love this actor. I've seen him in Bad and Crazy, Tale of the Nine Tailed, Tale of the Nine Tailed 1938. I even saw that one of Strangers in Hell. He's an Invisible Goblin where he grows to fame from that point, and he's a very hardworking man. Each time I see on his Instagram, he's always promoting, he's doing new shows, he's promoting his brand, and you kind of wonder, does he have a personal life? But anyway, besides the point. So when that happens, we get a flashback. So Jung Ji-man, we know he's a mercenary per se. He comes back to his family after many years, they think he's dead, to meet with his brother, his brother's wife, and the young Jung Ji-an as a 10-year-old kid, and the mom, like Lee Dong-wook's character's mom, she's battling a type of cancer, but we don't know, well, afterwards she dies, and there's the funeral, and Jung Ji-man goes and tells his brother, I think we should do an autopsy, something doesn't look right with our mom's death. And of course the elder brother in this case, he's very angry with his younger brother for disappearing and not being in contact, and he basically tells him, like, after all these years you want to be the good son. So the young Jung Ji-an, the little girl, she's messing about, she goes and pushes aside an urn that I think was with rice. I don't want to think it was the grandma's ashes, for God's sake. And the mom goes and tells Jung Ji-man if he can take his niece back to the house because she's kind of disturbing the peace. And he does that. As he goes back with his niece back to the apartment, this guy of Lee Sung-so, he's there wanting to pay respects to the grandma, but he goes and kills both parents of Ji-an's parents, the mom and the dad. When Ji-man and Ji-an, now you can see how close the names, Ji-man and Ji-an, they're in the apartment and they're watching TV, like they're watching Discovery Channel of hyenas luring a lion, and Lee Dong-wook's character tells his niece about the survival of the fittest type of situation, because the young girl was like talking about death because the grandma died, and she offhandedly says that, you know, dying sucks. And Lee Dong-wook's character goes and says, yeah, I agree. And then he talks about people that bark the loudest, you know, they're weak, you have to make the people do that and be stronger per se. And then he gets a text message, Lee Dong-wook's character gets a text message, a mysterious one, and he phones and he says, how did you get this number? He knows things have went down. So he tells the young Ji-an that to stay home and a friend of mine will come and tell him a riddle. And she says, yeah, I'll tell him, you know, what's the horse's favorite game? And she says as a joke, stable tennis. for a little girl. Now, the little girl, the young Jian, very intelligent girl. Her survival instincts just kicked in. And we can tell for that level of intelligence, even though she doesn't know what the hell is going on, only thing she knows that they want to kill her and something's happened. And she has a feelings in connection with her uncle. And the uncle promises to come back, but not in time to save her, because the uncle's friend, who's another mercenary I assume, manages to buy some time to kill one of the assassins. Not before him dying tragically with having his arm cut off by one of the psychos, which the young Jian sees. Now, how clever this little girl. She doesn't hide under the bed. She climbs out of the window and is hanging from one of the pipes from outside. Now, okay, that's far her thinking went. From the shot of the scene, maybe she could have shimmied down to the lower part, but anyway. We see that the bad guy of Lee Song-so, I don't know why he wanted to kill Lee Dong-uk's character, that's yet to be revealed. He kind of tells her while she's hanging outside, the poor young girl, why don't you come back in, you're gonna die, but she lets go from what I think. And then the bad guy goes and says, you're just like your uncle. And she tries to escape by not being hit, but unfortunately she gets hit by a van, taken to the hospital, and she hears things that's going on. And when she wakes up, she has a hallucination of a hyena having the arm of the guy that was trying to save them. Now, what clever this girl, in the hospital, the dead of night, waking up, probably still with anesthetic or whatever. She's running, escaping, because another assassin has come to the hospital to finish off the job, and she finds the morgue. Now, what a coincidence. She knows she has to hide. She opens up one of the compartments, and there's her mom's body. I'm like thinking, what a way to scar a child for life. She climbs in and hugs her mom's body, and the killer's there, and he knows that the child's hiding inside one of the compartments where the body is because of like weight difference, and she's there holding tight to her mom's body. When I saw that, I was like, oh, my heartstrings just pulled there. And before the guy could open up the compartment where she is, Jung Ji-man is there to save his niece. He kills the guy, opens the compartment, and we can see the heartbreak in his face. The big mistake that this character of Jung Ji-man did, if you're a mercenary involved with the underworld, don't go back to your family. We need to know the reason why, and that's later to be revealed. I don't know how many episodes this series, 8 episodes, and I was thinking, how can it include everything in 8 episodes? I think they could have done 10, because the first 2 episodes, it was so good, so much dialogue, especially Lee Dong-uk's character. You could see him transform yet again from a different character of being somewhat human but somewhat like lived life, being in wars per se. He grabs his niece from the compartment, and he's so in bits because he knows it's his fault that they came after him because they killed his family because of him. So he takes his niece and they go to, I don't know if they go to a different town or whatever. I think they stay in the same town, and he's trying to he's going to raise his niece, but at the same time we're there with like guilt. So they move into this house, and this is one scene in which he tells his niece to get out from the van, and she's holding the luggage, and she falls over the step of the door, and G-Man's there at the door. He turns back and he tells his niece in plain words, I'm not your mom, I'm not your dad, I can't do the things that parents can do, so don't expect anything for me. Now, whatever our comments can say, he feels one, guilty, and second, I think he didn't mean to say that in that way, because it gets revealed that due to the shock of seeing a guy die, hugging her mom's dead body, that she has a post-traumatic stress and she stopped speaking. So they went and basically told G-Man that she needs therapy and medication, but he doesn't take it that way. He's more like analyzing the situation because he's a mercenary, and he talks to the girl's teacher, and the teacher tells him that she's not coping well, she's not integrating with other people, she's getting bullied, and he says to the teacher, look, I understand what you're telling me, but I think she needs to overcome this herself. Now, the bit when I think he kind of regretted telling this young girl that don't count on me for any emotional support, when he's driving with the van and it's raining, she's walking with no umbrella, this young little girl, even though he's driving right beside her, she says nothing, and while he's falling, and then he drives off. Now, I don't know what's anybody's seen the first episodes like feel about this interaction, but I understand this guy's a mercenary. He's trying what he can, and he does look after the little girl, even though after walking in the rain, she's there with a fever, and he puts in the drip. And the other scene where she has like some night terrors, and he's trying to comfort her some way, and Lee Dong-wook, he goes out from the girl's room, closes it, and he starts slapping himself really hard. Now, he's here, like, whatever mistakes this character's made, you can clearly see that he knows it's his fault, and he's going to make it right no matter what of protecting her. And the reason that I say this, because after a montage of what the young girl's life, she happens to get locked into a basement in the school by some bullies. They close the door with the latch and everything, and she starts having another episode of seeing a hyena with an amputated arm in its mouth, and she's not saying anything, and then all of a sudden she screams out for her uncle's name, and he's there. Psychologically, I knew that he was trying to push her to see out of desperation that she would speak, and that's what happened. He called out his name, and he breaks open the lock, and he basically tells him that you promised that you would have come back then. And we can see from the perspective of a child, when you make promises to children and you break them, of course they hold it against you. And from that point on, their relationship progressed. And then we see Future Day with the now 20-year-old Jung Ji-an. She's there already at university one night, and she gets into altercation with some pervert, and she beats him up, and she gets to the police station. But of course, she really assaulted this guy for trying to be perverted, or maybe sexually assaulting this woman in the bathroom. That the police said, "Why don't you need to call a guardian?" So she calls her uncle. Then afterwards, she gets the phone call from police from the uncle's phone saying, "Oh, he was about to call you." And she says, like, "What? Your uncle's dead." And they claim that it was a suicide. Well, of course, we find out it's not a big secret that more than likely somebody took him out, probably with some, scissors, X, Y, and Z. She holds the funeral in the hometown where she originally lived in, and she comes to that realization she never really knew her uncle that well because they lived together, and she meets the uncle's friends, they have the funeral, she displays no emotion whatsoever because she's stunned. Her only family is dead. And when she gets back to her home, she meets a childhood friend of Bae Jung-min, that one that helped her in primary school against some bullies, and they're there helping each other. He obviously cleaned the bathroom, this and that. But I think this boy's a red herring. I think he could be another mercenary as well, because he appears all of a sudden. Maybe they only had few interactions together, but that's yet to be revealed. I think this boy killed Lee Dong-wook's character. I think that because these characters that appear out of the blue, out of many years to do out of the kindness of his heart, but then again, he acts so surprised when he finds an old mobile phone, like those flip phones, and he does tell Jung Ji-an that he found the phone, but not before that. When Jung Ji-an's finally there looking at her uncle's portrait, she breaks down because she did ask the police, "Did my uncle really kill himself?" And they said, "Well, nobody broke into the house, this and that. The only way we can conclude is a suicide." So she's like, "Okay, whatever." And while she's finally alone, she breaks down and cries, and the young boy is there. Flash forward, the young boy happens to be good at computers, because apparently the young boy was still in contact with the uncle by redesigning his website. Apparently the uncle's cover was he was selling garden hoses, and I'm like, wow, what a weak cover. But anyway, and then they find out that the garden hose company thing was just like, let's say, a front cover, but the real website, which leaves Jung Ji-an stunned, her uncle was selling weapons to killers, assassins, mercenaries, spies, and they see everything. A couple of scenes afterwards, Jung Ji-an gets a text message on her uncle's mobile saying, "I'm going to come and kill you." They specifically name her, and she's like, what the hell is going on? Now this is the uncle's fault, for God's sake, leaving her daughter, not his daughter, leaving his niece in that type of situation. And we know that the assassins he was probably selling the weapons to decided to kill him. The reasons why, because he was basically a seller that they wanted to kill him, we don't know. We have yet to find out. But the boy's character, Bae Jung-min, he reveals more that the shop runs on different codes. I think red was for the killers, and green, purple for the spies, and the green was supposed to be in a system that if all else fails, they have to protect the people in the color green. And the people in the color green was Jung Ji-man and Jung Ji-an. I was like, wow, even in death. But then again, how did this system would work if everybody could be double crossing? In which at the end of the second episode happens that the mercenaries take out a chip, it's meant to be a code, and we kind of see where the other mercenaries start to venture towards the house. And the other cool bit is the Jung Ji-man's house is bulletproof glass, doors, closets, everything. But of course the mercenaries, well, it's not bulletproof, it's bulletproof but not bomb-proof. So that's when we have in episode 2 the attack started to happen. Now this is the end. This is me like condensing the first 2 episodes. I like the premise. Of course, there's a little bit of fiction with the supernatural. Not fiction. It's kind of one of those like, whoever seen Wanted with James McAvoy, like, and Angelina Jolie with the special effects of the bullets and people able to dodge. So we can take it for that. But Lee Dong-wook, oh my god, he's done it again with a new character. Anyway, this is the end of the video. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And to any new viewers watching and coming to the end, I really appreciate we hit the subscribe button, keep the channel growing. And as I leave you always,